Hello everyone. The teardown we're bringing you this time is for this device, the Mangmi Pocket Max. This is a 7-inch device which is quite large. It's difficult to really show its size in the video, so let's compare it with another device. This is a 4-inch device and this is a 7-inch device. The device itself is essentially just the size of its screen. I'm sure many of you have already seen the previous videos where it was shown that its buttons are replaceable. You can just pull them out and directly swap them. What's even better, it also includes an extra pair of interchangeable buttons. The mechanism inside this specific one is a micro switch. You can hear a distinctly crisp sound when you press it down. And this particular one uses a conductive rubber, which produces a distinctive sound. The A, B, X, Y buttons over here also operate in the same manner. This one here is the micro switch type, and this one over here is made of conductive rubber, for example, you see. Of course, when I was playing with it the other day, I also discovered something. We can actually take this and put it here, put this one back, and then have D-pads on both sides simultaneously. Naturally, you might wonder if they can be inserted the other way around. But no, that won't work, because their respective opening sizes are not the same. The D-pad opening is slightly smaller, whereas the ABXY button's opening is somewhat larger. So, while the D-pad can fit in here, the ABXY buttons definitely won't fit into this specific slot. But what's interesting is when you put the D-pad here, its up, down, left, and right directions can correspond to the ABXY buttons. Therefore, if you'd like to play in this manner, that's certainly an option as well. So this side here is A, and this side here would be Y, correct? That works. Let's put these buttons aside for a moment. We'll disassemble them shortly. When I first got it, I was really curious, so I tried pulling the joystick. But it turns out you can't pull it off that way. It's more like a controller's joystick, almost like a big arcade stick. After we open it up a bit later, we'll examine it to see what kind of joystick it actually is. Turning our attention to the back, we observe it also features 4 inner hexagonal screws. Once we remove these 4 screws, we can try to pry open the back cover. As always, let's start from the shoulder buttons. We can begin by removing this sharp-edged pointed button right here, which is actually the shoulder button, as our initial step. That should just about do it. Alright, we can observe that the volume and power buttons are securely fastened to the outer casing with these rather small, delicate silicone strips, which are also quite simple to detach and put back on. And on its backside we have these 2 chrome decorative strips. They are purely aesthetic and do not function as light guides. It seems that they're directly adhered to the outer casing, so we won't attempt to easily remove them, as they're stuck on there pretty good. These 2 back buttons are also affixed to the outer casing. Now let's continue by bringing the main body of this machine over here. This time, we can observe that the Mangmi once again features a sizable cover plate centrally located, effectively concealing the primary components. Nevertheless, on its sides, 2 smaller circuit boards are noticeable. They appear somewhat like hub connectors, with all the circuitry converging there. These likely serve as the subboards for the buttons. To facilitate their interchangeability, the design didn't quite manage to get this circuit board perfectly flush with the main board. So now we can carefully try to detach both of these side daughter boards. We'll proceed to unlatch all the clips situated on top, and then we'll make sure to completely disconnect all the flexible ribbon cables, extracting them from their connections. Once all of these ribbon cables have been carefully removed, we can then proceed to try and unscrew this small board. It's securely fastened with Phillips head screws. However, we've discovered that this part simply won't come off. The joystick is completely in the way, blocking its removal. So, we're going to attempt to completely unscrew this entire structure right here. At this point, we noticed there was still an obstruction. We still have to remove this central frame first, as it appears there's no way to cut corners on this one. The vibration motor's ribbon cable here needs to be removed in advance before we proceed with anything else. Then, there are a few Phillips head screws, still Phillips head screws, and with those removed, we can finally take off this cover plate now. Aside from a vibrator motor, there is absolutely nothing else on it. Next up, we're going to proceed by cutting off the power to this battery right here. That's the first step. Once the battery is disconnected, we can then continue by taking out all these modules, including the fan and other similar components. The entire fan module has now been successfully removed. We discovered that this is essentially an aluminum sheet, a heat-conductive aluminum sheet, combined with a fan and heat dissipation fins, all integrated into a singular design. There are many ribbon cables here. Let's pry off all the mainboard ones. First, we need to take off this speaker. It's more than just a speaker. On its reverse side, you'll find two clear switches, which line up with the two diagonal buttons on the front panel. This particular section seems to be designed for a double S key, and the other side is an exact match, also having a speaker and two additional clear switches. We finally managed to get this one off. You see, the ribbon cable here was actually stuck to the outer casing, and that's precisely why it was quite difficult to remove earlier. This particular ribbon cable right here is specifically for the shoulder button. Based on this design, this head unit should actually be removable. You should be able to just pull it right off. Whoa, that was really tight. You totally startled me for a second there, I swear. Alright, it's finally disconnected. Now we can clearly see what it truly is. Over here you'll find a ring of LED lights, and this is a connecting ribbon cable. This right here is the Hall effect linear triggers sensing component. And on the back, this here is the switch for the back button. As we can see, it uses a full-sized Hall effect joystick, the kind typically found in gaming controllers. This is incredibly rare on a handheld console, which really highlights the device's true streaming pedigree. This kind of Hall effect joystick is genuinely exceptionally rare, very rare indeed. This is truly my first encounter with such a feature on a handheld console. I've never come across it on any other device. These are the 8 contact points for the magnetic buttons on the front. I'm curious if I can manage to pry this shoulder button off, given its integration. Its shoulder button, you see, is directly slotted into a groove. Unlike others that simply rest on top, this one is actually clipped right into that slot, a rather unique design choice. So, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the conductive rubber used for this shoulder button. It's a very small cross-shaped component. We can also disassemble the other side now, and it should reveal a similar internal structure. It truly seems that with a firm and steady pull, you can actually detach it. Over here, it's the exact same large Hall effect joystick that's integrated. Next, we'll go ahead and carefully unscrew and remove the screws situated on the upper section of the device. We've gone ahead and removed this half as well, and as you can see, it shares an identical design with the other side. Alright, let's proceed by taking off the joystick cap, and then we'll also remove the protective cover located underneath. This light-blocking cover doesn't have the silicone shield that normally blocks light. Since this is an engineering unit right now, it's just got light-blocking tape here. The final version will come with a proper silicone gasket. Next, we're going to try and remove the motherboard. There are a total of 4 screws on this motherboard. We can gently attempt to pry up the motherboard a bit to see if there are any other connections still holding it down. It seems there aren't any remaining connections. On its back, there are 2 chips, connected to the midframe with a thermal silicone pad, which confirms that the midframe can assist with heat dissipation. The motherboard itself isn't particularly large, yet it contains all the necessary components. However, due to the shielding cover, I can't quite make out the details. I wonder if any experts could perhaps identify its specifications. Upgrading to 12GB plus 256GB, 16GB plus 512GB, or even 1TB should be possible. But with the current high cost of storage, modifying it to that extent would likely incur a very significant expense indeed. This, in all likelihood, is going to be the ribbon cable for the secondary board that manages both the volume and the power buttons. Over here is the shoulder button section, and this side is too. This isn't the screen's built-in ribbon cable. This particular cable is actually just an extension. Right now, this is how far we've managed to disassemble this machine. Now our next step is to carefully dismantle both the D-pad and the ABXY buttons. Alright, for now, let's just gently set the main body itself aside here for a little bit. Let's start with the D-pad. The structure should be the same. We'll disassemble the microswitch one and the conductive rubber one. On the back, there are also 2 Phillips head screws. We'll go ahead and unscrew them now. Once these screws are removed, the magnets on the back become crystal clear and easily visible. So, I wonder, will this component simply push right out with no resistance? Let's go ahead and find out now. Let's take apart the other one as well so we can do a side-by-side comparison. This here is the conductive rubber section. The conductive rubber is actually quite firmly attached to this circuit board, and it's not something that can be easily removed. In fact, it's quite robust. If I were to remove it, I believe it would come at the cost of damage, so for now I'll just leave it as is. This here is the conductive rubber component. Inside, it still features that typical straightforward cross-shaped structure. Let's set this aside for now. And this particular one, well, it absolutely cannot be pressed down, because on the inside it's actually securely fastened with 2 screws, preventing any movement whatsoever. Once these 2 screws are loosened and removed, the central frame can then be easily detached. This right here, as you can see, is the main body of the D-dash pad. Let's put it aside for a moment. By the same logic, this part should also be removable, but you might need to give it a slight tap or nudge to get it loose, and then it will come off. There we go, I was actually able to just knock it right off. And for this version, with the micro motion buttons, it's using Kyle mouse buttons. Yes, that's exactly right, it uses those Kyle mouse buttons. And inside here, this part is also secured with a Phillips head screw, so we'll just go ahead and unscrew that now. And this one here, it also comes with a silicone pad, which is designed to really enhance the tactile feel and make it much more comfortable to use. Oh, this design is incredibly ingenious. Now let's carefully remove the D-pads and examine them closely. As you can see, both of these D-pads are absolutely identical. These two D-pads you see are actually interchangeable. What that means is the microswitch version and this conductive rubber version of the D-pads are essentially one and the same. Alright, I assume the ABXY buttons share the identical design, featuring the very same conductive rubber, and also the same microswitches, ensuring a consistent feel and function. We can see that the microswitch dimensions are even identical, meaning these two sides should be fully interchangeable. The microswitches being the same means that once installed, all the button logic will also be exactly alike. And over here, there's also a silicone pad to enhance the tactile sensation and overall feel. And over here we have the ABXY buttons. Now if you're thinking about trying to change their button direction, it seems that's actually not possible. The position of the limit posts is different, so simply swapping them to convert to the Nintendo Switch button layout just won't work. Oh well, so you'd have to make new ones or wait for an official release. The other side should have the same design, so I won't take it apart. This time around, Mangmi's design has genuinely caught me by surprise. To accommodate the replaceable modules, they've clearly made quite a number of significant trade-offs. But, due to the compromises stemming from these limitations, they indeed used a full-sized Hall-effect joystick, much like those found on standard controllers. The tactile feel is quite good, even superior to the hemispherical joysticks found on the handheld I mentioned earlier. This is largely because its damping is exceptionally robust, significantly stronger than the other one. Its lifespan should also be quite long, I'd say. If they could just optimize the structure a bit more and enhance the internal shielding, I believe it would be even better, you know. However, it's likely a significant challenge given that the physical dimensions of the device itself inherently limit what can be done. This was likely quite a challenging and bothersome problem for the manufacturer to resolve. Well, truthfully, this Mangmi Pocket Max device truly exceeded our expectations. Its internal design in particular completely surpassed what I had ever imagined it would be. At first it looked disorganized, but then I understood it was a logical design. There's really no way around it, but I still hope the manufacturer keeps optimizing it further. Alright, that was quite a bit of chatter. This teardown ends here for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.